Hi everyone. I was going to share my thoughts on gymtimidation and how our backgrounds shape our relationships with physical fitness. So my identity and perspective on fitness is I grew up in Almani, which is pretty blue collar community, and physical activity was a big part of my life. I had two older brothers who did sports, so at a young age I started doing multiple sports with soccer, wrestling, baseball, football. Like I did even the Parks and Recreation track and stuff. So I was always either doing some sport outside or working outside. So I never really struggled with feeling out of place in the gym or on the mat or anything like that because I grew up in that environment. As I moved into coaching and teaching, I've realized that not everyone had like the same comfort levels as me, especially when I deal with like some of the high school students who didn't do a lot of physical activities until high school, so that's 12 years of their identity, and like they really aren't as comfortable as I am. Some of my biases and assumptions, like early, I had the mindset that if something was bad, whether it was like getting in shape or making weight, that you just had to like grind it and work, like do more or do it harder. And that worked for me a lot, like in wrestling at the beginning and stuff, but it also like led to some like harmful things like cutting weight like the wrong way because instead of focusing on diet, I would focus on just getting the weight off in like the shortest amount of time or things like that. um and like not like learning that to do the process and do it correctly is a better way. It took me a while to learn that, especially just thinking like I could just get through these no matter what it took. um Working with a diverse population. So it's like coaching at a Royal and at Rio Hondo, and then even with like the little kids that I helped with like the our kids program that we have. Um, it's like super different how you engage with everyone. Every student has a different level of like hunger. Like some of them want really structured, and some of them want really disciplined. Some of them, are intimidated just walking into the weight room when we start lifting. Especially with like the high school kids who haven't done much. With our Jedi kids, they're not really lifting weights, but we have them doing like agility ladders and stuff that they would see, in a weight room. So it's starting to like get them more, comfortable with it at young age. But yeah, like noticing the anxiety levels and like everyone's at different. They all come from different families. All have different. Like some parents might have been able to afford to get them gym memberships, and they've been around gyms. Some of them haven't. Some of them have uncles who lifted in the backyard and they've been around weights for a long time. Some of them haven't. So it's like always everyone's at different starting points and trying to figure that out, and is difficult sometimes. Um, Improving the way we can include and accommodate people in our spaces. Like just making them welcoming. Like our kids, like our weight room is not that big, so we have a lot of stuff out. So you have like we put things in different like stations and stuff, and like you see a bunch of different, like when you first walk up, you see a bunch of different kids doing a bunch of different things, and they all have different size weights. And because of the way our school has to deal with like facilities, we have our boys and girls teams working out together. So it's like there's always someone at whatever lifting level like you are that's out there doing it, so it's much easier. And then just we always talk with the kids about like not having egos in the weight room, like maybe like it's healthy to be competitive with like your goals and stuff, but like never be discouraging of people and stuff like that. So it communication with the students is always the best thing. My final thoughts is just promoting lifelong health and fitness is always good, and that's what I try to do with like, especially since I'm kind of able to tap into a lot of different levels with like the kids program that I help with high school, with college. And coming from the wrestling, like making sure that they don't have, because I've for a while had a negative feeling when it came to some of like the gyms and stuff like that, just because of the amount of bad memories I had trying to make weight and do stuff like that. So trying to help them prevent getting that. But thank you for listening, and can't wait to reply to your guys'.